Welcome to the Backpacking Blisters podcast, the family-friendly show that is tips and tales with a sense of humor. This episode is brought to you by the people who don't quit making good gear, Enlighten Equipment. Check out the best ultralight gear at enlightenequipment.com. With me today is the author of Alone in Wonderland, a revolutionary leader in women's backpacking, a podcaster, Christine Reed. How's it going today?
Oh my gosh, best day ever. I'm so happy to be here.
Best day ever because you're on this podcast?
Just, every day is the best day ever. I think that's my philosophy.
Okay. I got excited for a moment there, but I like your positivity.
But yes, because of this podcast.
You've been looking forward to this for years, so...
Literally since the last time I was on.
That's right. Okay, so we're talking about, we got a list today. We got a top 10 reasons people quit on a backpacking trip. So... have you ever quit on a backpacking trip?
Yeah, totally.
Totally. All right. Any story with that one?
I quit on my first backpacking trip. I set out to thru hike the AT, the Appalachian Trail, in 2015, and I hiked the first 650 miles, and I got off trail in Parisburg, Virginia.
That's not like I can't do this, I'm bailing. Like 650 miles that's a long stinking time. So no shame in that.
I did hike a lot, yeah. Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting. That's a little bit of the backstory of my book is my AT hike, and I learned a lot on that hike, and it changed my life in a lot of ways. And no, I didn't hike every mile of the AT, but I don't feel like it was a failure at all. My decision to quit was very multi-layered. There was a lot of things going on, but I don't carry that with me as a thing that I didn't succeed at. I really think that I gained so much from it that it was super valuable to me and a success in many ways,
And I've read your book.
Yeah.
But it's been a couple years. So
yeah.
I forget if you mentioned this already, but were you one of the people that were like, I want to do the AT, zero backpacking experience, first backpacking trip, you're like, I think this is the right gear, I can do this, and then you set out? Is that you?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I got all of my gear and I moved to Yosemite for a season and lived there as an employee. And I went on 2 one-night backpacking trips with groups of other employees that were really, we were walk 3 miles, camp, walk.
That still counts though. You can still learn a lot from that.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. I think it was valuable for me to do, and especially in a group. Yeah, that was the extent of my backpacking experience, was after I had already decided I was going to do the AT. I did these 2 one-night trips outside Yosemite.
All right. So you're becoming a leader in the outdoor world, inspiring women to get outside, go backpacking. What do you think the biggest obstacle in getting people from the couch to the trail is?
I think fear. I know that's such a huge umbrella of things, but I think that less than the logistical or the actual obstacles is the mental aspect of can I do this, and what's going to happen when I'm out there is what's really holding people back.
Okay. I think so too, because we do Patreon trips, and so we have people sign up for trips, and some people are new to backpacking, and for them it's they'll sign up, they're ready to go, they've committed, and then we have a lot of people kind of bail last minute because of that anxiety over oh my gosh, I don't have much experience or any experience. And then there's also the issue of I'm going to be hanging out with people that I don't know. They're strangers. Are they going to be nice? Is this going to be, can I keep up? There's just a lot of anxious issues.
Totally.
I think a lot of things are going to play out on our list. So hopefully we can put some things to rest here because we don't want you to quit. I personally have had plenty of quitting experiences. And a lot of times it's people that I'm with that quit that kind of sabotage the group. So I'm really curious what's on your list. So we're going to go back and forth. So the first reason people quit is going to be the number 10 reason. Do you want to go first or second?
Why don't you go first?
Okay, number 10, I've got for people that are going to the mountains, they struggle with the altitude. So whether it's straight up altitude sickness or whether it's just they're having a hard time breathing and that causes some sort of panic in them, they're struggling. And so I had this happen in kind of the early years. I brought somebody who was in relatively decent shape. I think we started at 7,000 feet elevation. We didn't even gain that much that day, but we definitely gained a chunk. And he had to leave, and we had to escort him back down the mountain because he just was essentially just sick. And so if you have altitude sickness, you just got to get to lower elevation to solve that problem. But so we're going to do a trip in the Wind River Range here in a couple months. And I'm encouraging people to show up at least a day early to try to acclimatize because it is tough to just jump from 0 to whatever 9,000 feet.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the most common reasons people quit the Colorado Trail specifically, is like, yeah, coming from other places and then getting directly on trail. Even leaving Denver, like you're starting above 5,000 feet and the first day you hit close to 10, I think.
That's if you're like really, you must be hiking more miles than me.
No, I feel like maybe it's the second day you get to 10. I'm like,
Maybe.
you go straight up. I went the other direction, so my
Okay.
perception is all off. But
Well, Waterton Canyon's like flat for 6 miles, or it's flat-ish.
correct, yes. And then you go straight uphill.
Okay.
And you gain like, gosh, I'm going to say a bunch of numbers. They'll be all wrong, so I'm not even going to say it. But like you go straight up a big hill as soon as you get out of Washington
Yeah,
Canyon.
you're hitting elevation either way.
Yes, and for a lot of people, even being at 5,000 feet is an adjustment. And so,
Right.
you know, you say get there a day early. I'm like, get there a week early.
No, I know, like, but people can't take that many days off, though, right?
It's true, but I mean, honestly, like my friend came from Boston for the Colorado Trail, and we stayed in Denver for a week. We went up to Netherland and camped at 11,000 feet, came back to Denver, then started the trail, and
Okay.
she did great. But it's
Right.
a commitment of time for sure. But if you're already committing a month to do the Colorado Trail,
Yeah, if it's a long trail, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Like my trips are just like 4 days, 3
Right.
nights, and so if you're like, well, I'm going to turn that into a 7-day trip.
that's a whole thing.
I mean, you could go see other things for sure. But yeah, it's a commitment. I don't know. I had like this super fit guy from New York come out, and he wanted to do a Colorado 14er, and he said the first day he was at 8,000 feet. He's like, I'm not going to be able to do this. But by day 2, day 3, he was a lot better. So
Yeah,
it's better than nothing, I guess. So that's number 10. Number 9, what you got? First on your list.
gear failure.
Mm.
I think this is one that a lot of people wouldn't think much about because they're like, oh, my thing broke, I'll just get a new thing. But
Problem solved.
but like, I guess, you know, and if we're talking about shorter trips too, where it's just like 2-3 days, like, okay, I'm going out for 3-4 days. Like my sleeping pad busted on the first night. Like, you better believe I am not sleeping on the ground for the next 3 nights. Like, no way.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I've done it. I had my sleeping pad break on the Colorado Trail in between towns, and like I had to just suffer for the next few nights before we got to town.
Wait a minute. Do you remember what that was? Like the brand,
Dude.
the model? By any chance? Was it the Nemo Tensor? Was it that
It
one?
was. But you know what? I will say
Was it?
I've had several brands of sleeping pads all bust. And the only one that I'm like a diehard for is Thermarest. And I know they're like old
Okay.
school, and like people, you know, they know what they're doing. And like all these other brands, I've had a Big Agnes break on me. I've had the Nemo break on me. I was on the AT in 2015, so this is like way back. And it was like the super, super light one that everyone was carrying then that had like the V-shaped baffle.
Oh, yeah. It's like, that's like a Climate or something like that.
Yes, a Climate.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a bad experience with them too. So I'm just like, sleeping pads, like nobody can get it right because it's just like, it's a hard piece of gear to make, I think.
It is. If you're on the pad long enough, like eventually it's going to pop a leak. I was a big fan of the Tensor for a while, but then, and it lasted, like I was on a 10-day trip last year, and it lasted from the trail. I put it away, took it back out, very next trip, it was like started to deflate. To your story though, like I think it's better if it just like fails, where it's just like, this is just not holding air.
It's just flat.
Versus the slow deflation where you have to like reinflate it in the middle of the night multiple times. I'm like, that's almost like you're like, I can kind of put up with this, but if it just fails, you just know that you got to replace it, right?
Totally. Yes. I would not have chosen, even if it had a slow leak, to take it out like that. But it was also like that where I had bought it, used it for a short trip, and then put it away, brought it back out. Next trip, it did not last. It probably lasted the first like 10 days.
Right.
And then I had to replace it. And then, of course, the little gear shop in Creede, Colorado, which is like super niche, super small, like definitely caters to thru hikers. The only sleeping pad they had was the most expensive Thermarest, which I would never have purchased by choice, but I
Right.
did buy and love. It's
Okay.
so nice.
Were they sold out? Like they're like,
It was like the winter. It's the winter one that's
Okay.
like $250.
it keeps you really warm. Yeah.
It's so nice though,
Yeah.
and it's lasted. I mean, that was in 2021. I'm still using that sleeping pad. So
Has it leaked?
No.
Okay. All right. There you go. That's what you want.
never. I mean, I will never buy another brand Thermarest until I die.
That's so funny. My gear failure is kind of a weird one. I was trying to do a section of the PCT, the Washington section, years ago, and I had a pack cover failure. So this is before people started using like the internal pack bags, And so, it didn't like clip behind it like the Osprey pack covers do nowadays. And I was on like a windy ridge and it blew off and I didn't know. And so it was just pouring down rain. And so when I got to camp, I was like, oh, my pack is soaked and so is everything inside, including my sleeping bag. And so I had a hypothermia issue where I had to like basically evacuate the trail. So that was
valid. Yeah, totally. Are you still a pack cover user? Because I carried a pack cover for like 5 minutes on the AT and I was like, I'm done with that. Get that out of here. Never again.
I'm not against them. I like the Osprey ones that clip. I'm more against the cost because those like Osprey ones cost $50 for that little thing. And I think that's like major price gouging. But I mainly use the interior, like the Nyloflume bag. Is that what you use?
I use a trash bag on the inside of
similar.
my pack. Yeah.
So mine is just like a lot lighter weight and thinner, but also not as durable. Like I've broken a few of those. So
I use a trash bag, and then I also have my clothes specifically are in a stuff sack inside with everything else. But everything else, I'm like, whatever, if it gets wet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds like you solved your issue. You got a working thermarest. I haven't had that issue since, but you just never know what gear failure can happen for sure. So
yeah.
All right. That was number 9. Let's see here. Number 8. I'm going to go with unrealistic expectations of oneself, where you're biting off more than you can chew. You've seen other people do it. Maybe you've watched YouTube videos of people. You're like, I can do that. I've even had, I had I think it was my second backpacking trip. I had the ranger they're like, this is a really hard trip. I don't know if you guys should be doing this. They were trying to be nice. They're like, look, there's probably snow on the north side of this pass you're going over. Some people think it's like the most dangerous thing in the world. Others will just glissade down and think it's just fun. Just be safe. And we got to the top of that pass. We looked over. We're like, we are not prepared to do this. It was just, like winter wonderland right there. So that was when we actually quit on. And so we just setting unrealistic expectations. But I will say on the positive side is that if you're like, I can't do this, and you have to turn back or you have to quit, I like to use that as a motivation to like come back to that trip when I'm more prepared and do it again. And we have done that trip again. So, have you had that issue?
I don't think so. I think especially if someone external says, I don't know if you're prepared for this, I'm like,
oh yeah,
you better watch me do this. I have certainly done things I probably had no business doing because I was like, oh, I'm not turning back now that this guy has an opinion about it.
That's one of my strategies to try to motivate people is like, if I'm in a group, my strategy is if somebody's really struggling and lagging behind, I'll go back and tell them, hey, that guy up there doesn't think you're gonna be able to make it. And
brutal.
And they're like, yes, I can.
And you have to be careful, right? Because some people take motivation from that. Some people don't. Like that's definitely it depends on the person kind of thing.
Right,
but for me, like if someone else thinks I can't do something, then I'm like, pfft. And then I think also like I just did a few things early in my hiking career that, like I said, I had no business doing. And so now I have a bit of a mentality of like, well, if I could do that back then, I'm sure I can figure this out, right? Like, I know how to suffer. If nothing else, I know how to suffer.
That's the key, is you have that's more like the mental toughness side of things, right?
Sure, yeah.
And so, yeah, for sure. So you know that, like, it might take, I don't know, especially as you get older, it might take longer, or if it might be harder than the last time. And just to clarify, I don't really go back and tell those people that. I'm not going to lie to people. But I just think I want to do that one day.
You're
just to try it out.
causing beef between two people on the trip who have no idea why.
Yeah. Well, I would just be at the end just so you know that I didn't really say that. I was just trying to motivate you. But I haven't really done that. All right. As my number 8, what's your number 7?
I would say weather events, but also just like general weather. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like too hot, too cold, too wet.
So you're saying like the weather's not terrible, but it's just a little hot, a little too hot.
It's not a hurricane. It's just raining.
Okay. Have you quit from weather before?
I don't think I have. And you know what? I think that I'm just talking about the Colorado Trail a lot because it's my favorite trail. But the year that I did the Colorado Trail, my friend and I started, we went northbound. So we went from Durango to Denver, which is not the way that most people go. And that year, the monsoon season, or like the early rain season coming out of Denver, because most people start July 1st, was so bad that people were getting rained off the trail. There were like mudslides and stuff. And then people were getting rained out in Breckenridge. And then they would spend all of their money because Breckenridge is so expensive, and then have to leave because they couldn't afford to like keep staying in Breckenridge waiting for the rain to pass.
Right, 'cause it's expensive there.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say on the AT, there were days that it rained that I was like, I just, if there were a road here, I would be home right now.
If there was a way out, I would take it.
If I could not be doing this right now, I 100% would, but
God.
I am in the middle of the woods right now.
Yeah, sometimes being stuck is like, yeah, it kind of forces you to toughen things out, right?
Totally. Yeah. And, you know, I think I always joke that for the AT, like I did all the research in terms of like having the gear that I needed. So there was rain gear in my backpack, but I had not done much thought about what it would be like to walk through the rain all day.
Right.
And so when I got out there, it was like, yeah, I'm prepared. I have the item that I need, but I was not prepared for like the mental, physical, emotional experience of some of the things that were going to happen. And rain was one of them, for real.
Right.
And now for the last like 7 years, I like didn't really have a full-time job, so I could backpack whenever I wanted to and build my,
which is nice.
It's great. Yeah. Build my schedule around that. And so I will say I've been very like princess mode about going when the weather's good, because I have had the flexibility to do that.
And choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's definitely, I mean, on the long trail too, I did the long trail in the fall of 24, and there was like probably 10 different days that I said, if it was raining right now, I would be quitting. Because of the technicality of the terrain, and there's so much rock. It's really slick. Everything is so steep. And it's super muddy. And like, there was a lot of times that I kind of wanted to quit already. And I was like, man, I can't believe how many people do this in the rain, because it rains so much in Vermont. We had such good weather, but I just kept thinking like, if it was raining, I would not be doing this right now.
That's fair. And the weather for me even prevents me from like planning trips, because I'll do like, I don't know, in Colorado, I want, like when April hits, I want to go backpacking. And typically there's a couple weekends in April that are beautiful in Colorado. I don't know which weekends those are, so I can't plan like 3 months in advance, like and say, hey, come out to Colorado because we're gonna go backpacking, because we might hit the bad weekend, right? So like, I don't know, but 2 of them are gonna be amazing. Yeah. I just don't know which ones. Weather's like almost like a deterrent in that case. Weather is a good one. I think a lot of people do quit from weather, and even my pack cover story, like that's a weather issue right there as well. So, all right, number 6. This one, I'm really curious if you have experience with this one, but I'm having experience with this one in increasing numbers, is the concept of fear-mongering, where it's somebody who may be going on the trip, may not be going on the trip, but they are presenting issues that are going to happen on the trip before the trip's even happened, to try to like set this like fear expectation in your heart to scare. They're not trying to scare you away from the trip. They're just like letting you know about it. They're not usually providing a solution. It's just like, here's a plate of fears, be aware. So like for this Yosemite trip, I had somebody reach out months ago who's like, hey, we're getting a ton of snow in the Sierras. When you're going to Yosemite, like it could be covered in snow still. And then like a couple months later, hey, just so you know, like you're going really early in the season, it's going to be covered in mosquitoes. And I was like, we're going, we're going to figure it out. Neither of those things were true. It was just like this fear expectation that, like I just have this happen on like most trips, I guess, most trips with groups. And so that can cause people to quit even before they start. Have you had this issue?
I was going to say quitting before you start. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Yeah. I feel like a lot of the public speaking I do in like in-person events is centered around like overcoming fears and like getting yourself out there, getting yourself past the start line, essentially.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've witnessed and had so many really interesting conversations with people, and usually women, but this is not like a women's issue specifically. But I do think the way we talk about fear is slightly different between genders, just because women are socialized to be afraid of so many more things than men are. But yeah, I think the family being like, are you going to carry a gun? Or like, what about bears? Or like, just the 10 million things. And I think mosquitoes are a funny one. Just because it's so real though.
Well, my daughter like hates mosquitoes. And so for me, that was like a real fear for me to like, I don't want her to have a bad time, right? So I actually was like,
for sure.
I'm like, okay, permethrin, bug spray, we're bringing a thermocell, like anything that I can do. We're campfires are allowed. We're gonna have a campfire, like anything I can do to prevent that.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. One of the things I talk to people about is what do you do with that fear? How do you navigate that? And how do you like not let it stop you from going to do the thing? And a lot of times the answer to that is gear or information, knowledge, research. What do you do to prevent the thing that you are afraid of happening from happening? So it's like, okay, if you're worried about mosquitoes, like mosquito netting, clothes, and permethrin's great. And like there's tons of things you can do to kind of mitigate that. Of course, the bugs are still going to be there, but
and my issue is more like, if you're concerned about something, I'm not saying don't bring up a concern. I just want you to explore solutions, like you're saying, right? So don't just present the problem to the trip planner, but like, okay, well, what can we do about that? So, you know, like somebody who's like, well, there's a fire in California, so there's gonna be a lot of smoke. All right, I'm not gonna go like help fight the fire.
Okay,
right?
Okay, but you should.
That's right. Maybe they need help.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, and like fire is also a concern that's like totally valid, where it's like, okay, I'm going to be breathing in smoke. Is that the best thing for me, for my body? Should I do that? I do think there's, you know, when there's like a couple different forms of fear mongering, or like I like to say people putting their fears on you, or it's like, that's something you're afraid of. That's what's stopping you from doing the thing that you want to do. I'm not going to let that stop me just because you want me to carry that for you.
Right.
And I think it depends who it's coming from, right? If it's like your beloved family members who are concerned about you but know very little about what you're doing, then you would be like, I'm going to accept your package of fear as love, and I'm going to carry it as love, and I'm not going to carry it in the form of fear because I don't need that.
That's well said. That's very wise. Yeah.
You know, like my parents are thinking about me, and that's very nice. And I'm going to appreciate that. And then I'm going to go do what I'm doing. And that's fine.
All right. So that was number 6. Number 5, what do you have?
Okay. I actually want to talk about bugs. That was not on the list, but since you said it, I do have a funny story there. And I do think...
Wait, bugs causing people to quit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I think one of the things is like, I don't think there's ever just one reason why people quit. Maybe ever, but like generally it's kind of a compilation of things. Gosh, I'm like, there's so many different, I'm thinking more in the through hiking mindset, where it's like things kind of pile on you over time. Right. I guess it's like different. Mounting. It's different when you're doing like a 3 or 4 day trip where it's like, okay, one thing has gone catastrophically wrong and now we have to get out of here.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like most of certainly my experience on the AT, there were many reasons why I ended up quitting, that sort of added up together to be like, okay, it's time. And perhaps one of those things was the black flies, because they were so bad.
Oh, those are terrible. Yeah.
They're really bad. Okay. But actually, the story that I wanted to tell is about a trail in Arkansas called the Ouachita Trail that I was attempting to set a fastest known time speed record on in 2022. Wow. And again, there were a bunch of reasons why it didn't go, and I ended up calling my dad and having him come pick me up. But I like to joke that like 5% of the reason that I quit was because of the orb weavers. Have you experienced orb weavers?
For those who don't know what those are, orb weavers.
Yes. They're spiders. They're spiders. Their whole body plus legs is probably only the size of a quarter. It's not a very big spider, although there are those on the Ouachita Trail too. But they have really bright colored stripes on them. Like they're really freaky, like Halloween looking spiders. So look them up if you're interested. But their most notable characteristic is that they weave very thick, sticky webs. And they weave very prolifically, very fast. Like people will go through the trail and 12 hours later, there's like a whole nother set of spider webs. So if you've ever been the person up first thing in the morning, clearing spider webs with your face.
The web breaker. Yeah.
There could be 3 of those people on a trail in a day in Arkansas because of these spiders, because there's so many of them and they're weaving so much web, and it's sticky and it sticks to you and you can't get it. Like, it's just the most horrific feeling to like have these hitting you all day long. And I was like hiking, trying to go fast, and I'm like using my trekking poles, and there's just these spider webs everywhere, and I'm having to like use the spider webs or the poles to try to keep the webs from hitting me. And also I need the poles to walk. Like, it was just one of those moments where like you're like so sensorily overloaded. I just wanted to like lay down and scream.
Right.
It's like, if one more, and then the spiders are there too, and they're like getting on you when you're catching the web.
That's the issue, is that like, I know that the web itself is gross. If I'm going through a web that's like that, I'm concerned that the spider's now on me, right?
Yes. And sometimes it is. It was like one day where it was just like spider webs the entire day. And I was like, I probably had 10 spiders on me that day that I had to like flick off.
It's like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You had to like wipe them off your back.
It was awful. It was so, there obviously, yes, there were other things going on that I was like, okay, the compilation of all these things is the reason I quit. But the spiders were definitely a factor.
Spiders, mosquitoes, ticks, like all that stuff I think this is definitely on the list for sure. So I will share that, like, I'm not really afraid of spiders. Like, they don't really freak me out, but I did go on a run when I was living in Australia, and they have like next level spiders. And I don't know how I didn't see it, but like I ran into a web like face first, and the web was so strong that it stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, this is the grossest thing in the world. Like, this is so horrible. And it took me like a long time to get it off me. And I was like, is this like a rope? Like, what the heck is this thing?
That's how it is. Yeah. That's how orb weavers are. Yes, I would love to hear someone do a side-by-side comparison of these two things.
Oh my gosh.
But I feel like most people, like if you don't backpack in or hike in areas like Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, like you may never have encountered orb weavers,
right.
But they're definitely a thing there. And if you know other people from those areas, bring them up because it's like funny to talk about.
Okay. I don't want to go to Arkansas. My family definitely doesn't either. my wife doesn't. Okay. All right. So that was number 5. Number 4, I got one specifically for hiking solo, and it sounds more general, but I know this is true because I know a lot of folks that have struggled with this. So for whatever reason, the trail's getting hard. So it could be like you're getting fatigued, or it's just harder than you think, or you've been hiking uphill the whole day and you turn a corner and oh my gosh, now I got to go up that mountain. And so it's just getting really hard. But because you're hiking solo, there's nobody really like pulling you along or pushing you from behind. There's nobody holding you accountable. And so as a result, you can easily come up with excuses to quit. Fake injuries, illnesses, anything to justify leaving. To me, this happened in my early days when I couldn't find anybody to go backpacking with, where like I was in Sequoia National Park and the trail just got hard. Like it was too early in the season. And so it got like increasingly deeper with snow. And I was trying to get to this like redwood meadow, and I wasn't even that far away, but I was like, this is dangerous now. Like, I don't think I can make it. When I probably could have made it, but there's nobody to like kind of motivate me or hold me accountable. And so just the hiking solo thing with the lack of motivation, I think that's a reason people quit.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think that's also a depends on the person kind of thing. Some of us are really motivated to prove we can do things by ourselves, and so that becomes like its own motivation. But sure. I do think that having someone there to like cheer you on or to hype each other up or to be like, oh, let's go one more, right? Like that kind of thing can definitely be a factor. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And it's not like, it doesn't have to be hiking. So like some of my early groups of folks I went with, like there was always like a quitter among them. They always like wrecked the trip. And I had to like figure out, well, who should be going this trip? And finally, when I got a group that was like, we can endure hard things, then it just became the expectation. And then if we did bring in a new person, it was like they didn't have the option of quitting. They were just going to go along with us. So
yeah, I do think you also can have like a group of people who talk each other into quitting. You know what I mean?
If you get multiple people that are thinking that, for sure. That's a good point. Okay. All right. That was my number 4. Number 3.
This one is through hiking specific or long hiking specific, but running out of money is definitely a thing I hear a lot about, especially on the 3 longest trails where it's like 6 months of hiking.
But isn't there like so much information now about like how much it would cost to do a long trail that you can kind of budget?
I mean, sure, you can budget all day, but that doesn't make you have more money.
I know, but you're like, well, it's going to cost like whatever, $2,000 to $3,000. Okay, I have $2,000 to $3,000 in my bank. Like that should cover it, right?
Yeah, but you know the getting vortexed into town and spending more money than you should have, or
wait, what's vortexed in town? What's that? That's a new word for me.
A vortex. Getting vortexed is like you get into town. And then you're like, I'm going to like stay at this motel. I'm going to buy my groceries. I'm going to wash my clothes. And then I'm out of here. And then the next morning, some of your friends get there. And then they're like, we just got here. You should stay another night. Now you're eating 5 pizzas.
5 pizzas.
You know, and then that can go on for like, I've heard of people getting vortexed for like a full week in a town where it's just like every day there's like a reason to stay another day.
We had a guy on who took his family on all these long trails, and he hated the towns because he's like, I'm taking my family, so now I'm paying like you'd think you're just paying to take them out to eat, but you're really paying to take them out to eat double because now they have like the hiker hunger. So they're eating like 2 meals per person, and he's got a family with him. And so like for me, like that, I can see that, but for sure. So you're budgeting, but then you have like surprise costs, like you mentioned that buying the sleeping pad, or you just get stuck in town. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, other things can happen too, for sure, where it's like, now you had to buy this new piece of gear, you had to order another pair of shoes, or like you know, that kind of stuff.
All right, it's time for our Summit answer. We're going to go down to number 2 and number 1 on our list. This is brought to you by Summit Something. It's time to get rid of the trashy, scribbled on cardboard signs you're bringing to those mountain peaks. Get something that packs well, is ultralight and durable, Summit flags. These unique flags display art from your epic adventure that really pop in pictures, videos, and on your wall at home. The group I took to Yosemite loved them and held them proudly on the summit of Half Dome. If you're looking for a sign, this is it. Check them out at summitsomething.com. All right, so my number 2 answer is, we've kind of been dancing around this, is people who truly do get injured or get sick on the trail. Like, this really does happen. I know sometimes people like fake these injuries, but whether it's like twisting an ankle and you're hobbling, or whether it's like something more extreme, like you're breaking a bone, you got to like use your personal locator beacon or whatever, like this actually does happen. I've actually encountered folks that have been evacuated. I've encountered folks that have pressed the red button, and we've had people get sick on trips, like not just altitude sickness, but like actually like some sort of bug. And that's like a legit reason to leave the trail. And I don't know, there's not really a way around that one.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like norovirus, giardia,
right,
and then overuse injuries are like the biggest long trail enders.
We had somebody on, a physical therapist, who basically said you can prevent a lot of injuries simply by shortening your stride. So that was her advice, and I just have a really hard time doing that, though. I'm just like, I just want to get there.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the like part of my compilation of reasons for leaving the AT back when is that I had plantar fasciitis and Achilles tendonitis in one of my feet. It was
horrible. That's like the worst. That's the worst.
Bad. And I was so inexperienced. I had no idea what was going on, and I like could barely walk.
You can't hike through that. You can't do that.
No, and I did for a couple of weeks, and it was just I was in so much pain, and like my whole body then is like trying to compensate, and I'm having like shoulder pain and like all these other crazy things.
Right. And
luckily I was around. There was a woman I was hiking near for a bit who was a runner, like a marathon runner, and she diagnosed the plantar fasciitis. She was like, "Oh yeah, you need to," and she was like, "Do heel raises." And I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? I'm walking up mountains all day. You want me to come back
you want to add exercises,
do calf raises at the end of the day?"
Just pause every couple steps and do some calf raises with your pack on while you're hiking uphill.
But I did do them, and it did help, and that kept me on trail a little while longer. But no, the combination of those things was just brutal.
Right.
Yeah.
My opinion is like the worst pain you can have is like back/neck pain, but the second worst is the foot pain. Like I think it's just so like you don't even want to like get up. You're just like you're so demoralizing. So
honestly, you're walking all day.
Okay.
Yeah, rough.
Yeah. All right. So that's my number 2. What is the number 1 reason that people might quit on a hike? What do you got?
I think the biggest reason is any combination of all the other things, but missing home is I feel like such an underlying difficult thing that you're dealing with the whole time that can really like reach a breaking point easily if other things start to go wrong. Does that make sense?
Okay. So if the longer you're out there, the more likely you are to miss home.
Yeah.
But like when you say missing home, like what specifically? Are you talking about like missing family, or are you talking about missing food?
I think it's different for different people. I think most people, it's probably like community and family,
right.
The people who know you really well. It's hard to like be around strangers all the time, even in the hiking community where people are really friendly and it's easy to make friends. It can still be hard to just not have like the people around that you're used to having around.
Right.
And I think it's harder for people who have, really close relationships with their parents and like live near their parents and see them all the time, or people who have like a partner that they've left at home to go do a big trip. I mean, also there's just comfort in like being in your space with your things and like all, all the things that we like act all high and mighty about eschewing when we go backpacking. It's like, okay, but like those things are also nice.
Well, the sense of home is like, it's just like this reliability, right? Like I know what I'm going to each day. There's no surprise. And the adventure is like part of the fun. But if you're out there long enough, you're like, okay, like I kind of want some stability, right? Like you want some expectation.
like my bed, a change of clothes,
Right.
not wearing these stinky clothes.
Right. So for sure. And so I think this is actually probably, this is my theory, but I think this is a bigger problem with folks that are going solo. When we have, I'm always bringing a circus backpacking. And so if we're camping in an area where there's like more of a community, we always have people like that are hiking by themselves, and sometimes not just by themselves, but frequently by themselves, that they're wandering into our camp. They're like, can I hang out with you guys? And so like just happened in Yosemite, we had a guy whose channel name was Peace. He was like an artist, and he was out there to paint. And so he was going to be out there for 10 days. And because we had the same campsite multiple nights, he just like stayed there and hung out with us for multiple nights and multiple mornings too. Super nice guy, but you could tell like he was on the lonelier side. Yeah.
That's sweet. I feel like we haven't talked much about my book, but like in Alone in Wonderland, one of the things that I'm going through the whole time is like every person that I see, I'm like, are we friends? Can we be friends? And I did like probably on like the 9th and 10th day that I was on trail, I linked up with these two women. They were cousins, and one of them was from Washington, one from Michigan, and they did like an annual cousins trip every year. And they were out there minding their own business, trying to have a nice time with their cousin. And I'm like some girl being like, can I be friends with you guys? Can I follow you around for 2 days? And they were so lovely.
Did you ask, or were you just like, I'm going to follow you around? Was it a question, or was it more just like?
I mean, I think I kind of just joined them, but they were super welcoming, like really lovely. And we are like still friends now. But
oh,
yeah,
cool.
I just went up to them and was like, what are you guys up to? Like, blah, 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 and started a conversation. And then, we just hung out for the next like 36 hours.
Okay, here's what happened last summer. It says, tell me if this is you, or if this could be you. So we're doing a through hike of the Collegiate Loop, which is like the middle portion of the Colorado Trail. And we were like a few days in, and we got to camp, like in the evening, we set up camp, and it's, like literally right off the trail. And there's a solo woman coming down the opposite direction, coming right off the trail. She comes right in our camp. She's like, hey, guys, do you mind if I camp with you? Great. And then, like, immediately, like, doesn't even wait for a response, starts setting up her tent in the middle of our camp. I was like, that's the most aggressive I've ever seen it. But she did not want to camp. She was, like, a writer, like, for, I don't know, like, magazine or newspaper from Denver who was just like out there to get a story about what it's like to hike as a solo female, but she did not want to camp as a solo female.
I mean, I certainly would prefer not to camp completely alone. So I think I would ask. Okay. I think it depends on what the vibe is. Like if it's a long trail situation where I feel like this is just a place where a bunch of people camped and they're maybe not together, they're just like multiple people camping here, like I wouldn't even ask. I'd just be like, I'm here, cool, what's up? If I could perceive that it's like this is a group of 4 buddies and I'm like coming in hot trying to like take space, I would ask, but I would wait for you to answer before. Or I might come try to make small talk first and then be like, hey, you guys are cool, can I like stay?
We weren't going to say no, of course, but I've encountered backpackers that would truly say no. Like they're like, we want to be by ourselves, get out of here. And they would say it nicer than that. But so it was fine. It's time for the lightning round. I'm going to put Christine through the lightning round coming up right after this. All right, the lightning round is brought to you by Magnet Designs. Check out the Bend Alpha sleeping bag liner that also works for quilts. You can add to your bag or quilt to increase the warmth rating without having to buy a whole new setup. It can also be used by itself if you're going to hotter summer trips, or if you just want to take a daytime nap. At 7 or 8 ounces, the Bend Alpha liner can be a versatile piece to your gear collection. Check it out by Googling Magnet Designs. All right, Christine. So here we go. Let's see. Average is like 7 or 8 questions in a minute. The most we've ever had is like 13. So are you ready for this?
Am I competing for the top spot?
Some people that are competitive try to do that, and others are just like happy to get the average and afraid to get below the average.
Afraid to get below the average. I'm going to answer the fewest questions in the lightning.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. Yeah, we could just do one question. We could try that, and you can really like analyze it. What is your favorite backcountry meal?
Ooh, I've been really eating a lot of Farm to Summit lately. Their Puebloan rice and beans is my favorite.
A place on your bucket list.
The Arizona Trail.
Your biggest outdoor fear.
Getting lost.
Not the spiders. All right. Favorite childhood TV show.
Oh, the Torkelsons.
A habit you want to break.
Working so much?
A celebrity you want to go backpacking with?
I just don't know any celebrity.
You can say pass. All right, a conspiracy theory you want to believe.
Oh my gosh, this is really hard. I don't know. Pass.
Okay, time. All right, it's not Sasquatch. Sasquatch exists.
Do I want to believe in Sasquatch?
Yeah.
No.
You've been in Sasquatch territory. Isn't that the Wonderland Trail? It's like Sasquatch land. Right
I feel like everywhere thinks that it's Sasquatch territory.
That's true. That's a fair point. Okay. All right. You were close. Let's see. I got to count these up here.
Some of those were real thinkers.
1, 2,
those aren't lightning round questions.
Well, you'd be surprised. Like people like pop out with like JFK assassination
What?
or yeah. You had like I thought the favorite childhood TV show was a hard one. You had the answer like that. Yeah, you never know. People respond differently, so it just depends.
Have you ever seen the Torkelsons? Are you familiar with the show?
I've heard of them, but I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's after my time. What's the premise on the Torkelsons?
It's like a family with a single mom, and they all have real great Oklahoma accents.
Okay.
And the main girl is like 13, and she's got this like amazing curly hair, like huge curly hair.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And she stares out her window and talks to the moon at night.
Does the moon respond?
It's really wholesome.
Okay.
It's really wholesome.
Gotcha. I've heard. Yeah, I'll have to look that up now. That's a good one. Farm to Summit. That's a good answer. Like, yeah, they make good stuff. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say the spiders on the fear thing. Arizona Trail on your bucket list. That's a tough trail. That's a good one.
I have water fear, and so I am anxious about the Arizona Trail going by myself.
Right.
I think I would want a partner. And then trying to find somebody to hike with that I want to hang out with for 800 miles is also like a hard thing to do.
Because like I feel like and this might be true for you. Like I have those people in my life. They would be incapable of doing that trail. So like they couldn't do it, but like I would like to hang out with them that long.
Sure.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
I have friends I like that much, but not who backpack 800 miles.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for sure. So, okay. For those that want to check out your book or check out your podcast, how can we find you? How can we follow you? Just tell us all about it.
You can follow me on Instagram and Substack at Rugged Outdoors Women. Podcast is called Outdoorsy Women Plus Book Pod, and we talk to outdoor adventure authors about their stories. We talk about adventure and also the writing process, and you can hear that anywhere that you listen to podcasts. You can also check out my website, ruggedoutdoorswomen.com. And if you want to just talk directly to me, you can email me at ruggedoutdoorswomen@gmail.com.
And you'll respond.
I will. I'm very accessible. If you want to talk to me, I will talk to you.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. That's great. And we're going to have these linked in the show description so you can check them out there as well. Christine, this has been an honor and a pleasure to hang out with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. This was super fun.
Absolutely. All right. And folks, please subscribe so that you will stop quitting with fake injuries and spider webs in the middle of your backpacking trip. And remember, people often quit their jobs selling orange juice because they just can't concentrate.
Wow.
Have a good week and God bless.
Yo, B&B fans, it is Rock. Hope you're doing well. I know somebody who's doing well, and that is Jennifer. She and I, well, actually, I need to still go fold some clothes, but we just did a bunch of house chores, and she is moving at a very good pace through all these house chores. She's not as fast as me. That's never going to happen, but she's really moving, everybody. That's her in the background laughing. Okay, now we got a top 10 list, but this top 10 list is actually going to go very fast. So I'm going to do something I haven't done in a long time. I've been meaning to do it, and that is never listen to music on the trail, right? Don't do it. But if you do it, who should you listen to? There's an old Christian, I'd call them doom rock group called Mad at the World. Great name, huh? Now, one of the brothers, it's a band of brothers. There's 3 brothers in it. One of the brothers' voice, it's kind of an acquired taste. You know, it's a little bit eclectic, but their best album by far is Through the Forest. Now, in particular on Through the Forest, I've got to give a shout out, Doris, to 3 tracks. Track number 2, track number 7, and track number 9 in particular. Why? A guy named Randy Rose sung lead vocals on those, and yes, he actually sounds like Ozzy. Now, I know Ozzy has already passed, but consider me to be a year behind. This guy, Randy Rose, very similar in a lot of ways to Ozzy, kind of that same foreboding type rock voice, but they're singing about God, and track 9 in particular, I'll Never Go Back There, is really a good one. It's talking about never going back to sinful living. They do kind of approach music and approach the worldview from kind of the darker side, but they always point back to Jesus as their solution. So that's Mad at the World. Great for the trail, especially when you're hiking in a lot of light, because they do bring some of the darkness of the world into their music and say that Jesus will crush it type thing. Now, top 10 list. I've got a list of the top 10 reasons why you'd quit a hike. Here we go. Number 10, never quit a hike. Number 9, never quit a hike. Number 8, you never quit a hike. Number 7, you don't quit a hike. Number 6, you are doing something you want to do called hiking and you don't quit. Number 5, you don't quit a hike under any circumstance. Number 4, no quitting on hikes. Number 3, there's 0 quit in hikes. Number 2, you do not quit a hike for any reason other than death. And then number 1, I don't know if you guessed it, but maybe you did. And that is, you never quit on a hike because Jesus didn't quit for you.